rejected at the rim by Noel. Nice recovery. Randall on the break, and he gets with the rebound and up court. Payton, in the words of Thibodeau, putting good pressure on.
When you have your best player put in the work, put in the time, that makes your job so much easier. So all your elevation in this moment, not just the actual moment.
Boy, what a great 9 points and a couple of dimes. Here's Randall going to work against Richardson. Got it and one. Julius Randall.
Just an easy pull-up. Look, he takes his time, get to his spot. We've seen him get to that.
The New York Knicks, one of the most iconic and greatest franchises of all time, with no shortage of iconic moments, starting with Willis Reed to return to Game 7 to give the Knicks their first NBA championship in 1970, Larry Johnson's iconic game winner against the Indiana Pacers in the 99 playoffs, and Carmelo Anthony sinking 2 clutch threes in crunch time against the Chicago Bulls in 2012. The Knicks have always had their fair share of iconic moments, but in recent years it has not been like that, with their last playoff appearance coming in 2013 and them messing up draft picks and poor management and failed free agencies. The Knicks in recent years have been labeled the joke of the NBA. Well, you guys may be asking, well, how can they fix this? And I honestly feel like this season they've got it all right, but how can they not mess this up? Well, before we get into that, we have to go and look at where this all started. But in order to do that, we have to go all the way back to the last time they made the playoffs, which was in 2013. So the Knicks in 2013 actually finished with a 54-28 record and finished second in the Eastern Conference behind the Miami Heat. And they were destined to make it pretty far into the playoffs. They had a team consisting of Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, Tyson Chandler, a young Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith, Jeremy Lin, and etc. But eventually lost to the Indiana Pacers in 6 games in the playoffs. So what went wrong with that team? Well, first they ended up signing Carmelo Anthony to a multi-year deal, and then ended up trading him to the Thunder in a 3-team deal. And then they traded guys like Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith to the Cavs, and then waiving Amari Stoudemire in 2015. But then in the 2015 draft, they made what was in hindsight a really bad draft pick in drafting Kristaps Porzingis with the 4th pick in the draft. But to the surprise of many, he ended up being one of the best power forwards in the league and started to make an impact on the team immediately, and then ended up making one of the biggest trades in the year 2016 by acquiring Derrick Rose from the Chicago Bulls. But it turns out things just didn't work, whether it was chemistry problems, injuries, bad coaching, or the players just not playing well together. It just did not work. So then they proceeded to trade one of their best players of all time to the OKC Thunder in a 3-team deal, and the Knicks essentially got back nothing, getting their franchise back for a couple years. And then they proceed to trade Derrick Rose to the Cavaliers for, once again, essentially nothing. And then once again proceed to trade Kristaps Porzingis to the Mavericks for, once again, essentially nothing. Now, I wouldn't say that the 2021 first round pick was a bust, because they got a potential box office hit in Obi Toppin. Now, after 7 bad, long, mediocre seasons, the New York Knicks are somewhat kind of relevant now. I mean, they've shown that they can hit on a couple draft picks, like acquiring guys like Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin in this year's draft, and most notably draft RJ Barrett in the 2019 draft with the 3rd pick. Now, those are 3 young talents that they have hit on in these past couple drafts with sky-high potential. And they've got veteran talent in Julius Randle, Derrick Rose, and Taj Gibson, and then have a somewhat incompetent coaching staff with the hiring of Tom Thibodeau, which has worked tremendously. And I've been saying for years and years that Tom Thibodeau is an underrated coach. The Knicks have found their culture and have acquired young pieces who can dominate for years and years to come, and only look like they're getting better every single game. So why can't the Knicks mess this up? Well, it's simple. They're the New York Knicks. And what I mean by that is this. Well, while they're one of the biggest markets in the league, they're still known as the joke of the NBA and a mismanaged franchise that just makes terrible decisions each and every time. And what's the best way to improve your team? Signing free agents. And free agents have the ability to go anywhere they want. And I don't think any free agent is going to want to go to a terrible, mismanaged team. Now, while I don't think the Knicks have completely turned their franchise around, I think they're headed in the right direction. And they've already started to change the outlook on their team. I mean, they're 6th in the Eastern Conference and are most likely going to play in the play-in tournament. Now, while being in the play-in tournament isn't the biggest accomplishment, I mean, you have to take into consideration that they were bottom tier in the last couple years. So this is a big improvement. And they've got a bona fide all-star who can put up 30 points on each and any given night. Julius Randle. Now with Julius Randle, I honestly feel like they should go all in on him. And once his contract's up, you give him that max extension. If I were the Knicks and that was my only bona fide star, I'm doing that. And with this 2021 free agency class, I think you go all in on a guy like Kawhi Leonard or Chris Paul or Kyle Lowry or a DeMar DeRozan. Because considering they have $48 million in cap space, they can give that max contract to a guy that deserves it. And since the Knicks are changing their culture and heading into a new direction, New York seems a lot more intriguing than it already was. Because that's the most important thing to a free agent. Perception and how they view your team. Because Kevin Durant said it himself when picking the Nets over the Knicks. The Nets were just more intriguing, had better management, and were in a better position to win. And that's why they can't mess this up. And that's it for today's video on why I think that the Knicks just cannot mess this up. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. My Twitch and everything is down below in the description. And as always, all I got to say left, peace.